So here's the update. Um, Obviously, I'm still in my shithole apartment, not in the land of the free. Um, so I had my friend give me a lift all the way to the border, and tried to plead my case to the guys there, who seemed like really nice guys. I can't stress that enough. Like the U.S. border guards, they seem like actually really nice fucking guys that give a fuck about their country and their job. And I wish I could say the same thing for the people that worked on the Canadian side of that border. But if that were the case, I mean, I probably wouldn't be trying to leave this socialist shithole. But that is the case. And so, being aware of the Active Premenyaца, or the Active Measures program that was started running in the 1960s, and being aware that its primary focuses had to do with defense systems. I would argue that one of the nation's strongest defense systems against corruption and everything else like that is the practice of law. And so I think on both sides of the border, our legal system has kind of been not so groovy. And I think that's really the heart of the issue, at least that we run into in Canada. I'm not going to try and even speak intelligently about America's problems, because I only know what I see on TV. You know, I don't have much walking around experience in the day-to-day life of America, so I have no idea what your guys' life is like down there. I do know what my life is like up here, though, and I know that the legal system is absolutely fucked, and that it seems like the people that we have enforcing the laws are a bunch of thugs that are not intelligent people, they're not compassionate people, they're literally just bullies and thugs following orders, using tactics of intimidation in order to get non-cops to obey them, but it's not. They're not literate of the laws that they're supposedly enforcing, and so I think that's a major problem. So, anyways, we were sitting and waiting at on the U.S. side of the border for like maybe 2.5 hours, me and my friend, and. I tried to explain to the guys why I was trying to leave Canada, and I really feel like they were kind of trying to look out for me a little bit, because I'm not 100% sure that they even filed any paperwork on this one, but what they were telling me as they were driving me back to the Canadian side is like, man, like, you don't have a criminal record or anything like that, so I mean, if you have a job and an address and some money and a passport, I mean, you're good to come in here as a visitor. I was like, okay, well, that's all fine and dandy, but I did try to explain to them that Canada is the way it is right now, being a vassal state of the communist Chinese, and we're in a socialist state right now, and we're not far off from like a full-blown communism, and what I'm disappointed about is that I didn't have a chance to plead my case to an American judge, and that's really what I'd like to do, because I've lost all hope in the Canadian legal system, in my experiences with it, and with the constitutional challenge that I argued and the verdict that came down from that constitutional challenge that basically states that the government is not responsible for crafting laws in a manner in which protects our charter rights. Uh, it's a level of maddening, like, what the fuck, you know? And I know it's, if there was more publicity around the case, if there were actually people sitting in the courtroom watching this shit happen, I don't think the verdict would be like that. But, this is probably the same problem that you guys are running into in America, too, is that no one seems to know how to come to a sensible conclusion in order to effect positive change. Everybody just, like, kind of goes like, oh yeah, the change agents will take care of it, and I'm just going to sit here and wait for the change. That's, like, not how it works. Yeah. I really am not happy to be in Canada at all. I think most of you people are idiots. That's what I think. I think the fact that some people get offended when I point out that as a nation we're pretty fucking brain dead is just an example of how brain dead we are. It's a constructive criticism. You don't have to remain brain dead. You could get intelligent, but you're too butthurt when someone points out you're fucking stupid. And that's the thing. We have a culture about getting drunk and fucking high all the time. We have no culture around defending our nation. We have no culture around preserving our culture. We have no tradition that actually empowers everyone with the rule of law. Like in the United States, here's one thing that I know. A lot of the inmates and convicts, they know the law intimately, and they argue the finer points of it among themselves. In Canada, it's not like that. Convicts and inmates, they argue about whose lawyer is the better lawyer. Kind of reminds me of that movie, I think it was Midnight Express, about a guy that goes to prison in Turkey for a while, and how corrupt the legal system is there. And I mean, Jesus, if you take a look at Canada's Supreme Court and the fact that they all wear giant fucking Santa Claus costumes, is it any surprise that the legal system of this country is a joke? And I don't think anyone should take the legal system of this country seriously. I don't take the legal system of this country seriously. I don't take the Constitution of this country seriously, because the legal system doesn't take the Constitution seriously. I don't support the British North America Act. I think the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is a fucking scam, because the legal system doesn't protect it at all. I think the only way that man should be governing themselves is with the principles of the U.S. Constitution. And I don't know if there's any Canadians out there who have the chutzpah or the balls or the fucking courage to pledge their lives and their fortunes to each other and actually implement this new system of a Canadian republic. It's very simple. If we take the documents of the founding fathers and we literally just start focusing on them, reading them as a group, organizing and gathering, and not getting drunk at these fucking meetings, like, I think everyone is so socially lonely because of the Canadian fucking cultural paradigm of everyone being the outsider, is that it's come to a point where whenever we try and socialize with each other, it's through fucking various levels of inebriation. And that's just not how you build a nation. But I do think we need to build a nation in Canada, because I can't fucking accept the way that this shit runs now. And I think as much as I love America and its legal tradition and its founding documents, it too has been infected with the active preminenza, the fucking active measures. And so that this is how to reset the Constitution. And I think people all around the world should be banding together in groups. And I mean physical groups, not online, physical groups, reading the US Constitution in its in the language of the people of wherever you reside. Like German speak should be reading a German version of the US Constitution. Because I truly do believe that the Constitution of the United States of America is a divinely inspired document. And that we can become the United States of the world if, as individual countries, we start to implement the principles of the Constitution of the Founding Fathers. Not even just the principles, but the actual Constitution itself. So maybe that's what I'm going to work on now. Because I was going to be going to school in September to study the paralegal thing. But really, I would much rather watch the Canadian legal system be dismantled entirely and replaced with something that is actually logical and makes sense. Because the way we're governed in Canada and the laws that are applied to us do not make fucking sense. And eventually, we're going to need guns. I'm not saying we're going to use them, but, I think the right to bear arms is an important amendment. And that's the other cool thing, We don't have to just stick with the, the 8 initial precepts of the Constitution. We can put in the Constitution in all of the amendments, But we'll just consider them as the original Constitution. Because the thing that Canadians, I think, don't understand about firearms is that it is a check to the balance of power. For example, Canada as a nation, whenever we do exports with the United States or any other country, we're generally getting fucked. It's the same thing, like we had a guy that his boat, his very fancy sailboat that was like part of our heritage or whatever, got beached in Cuba, and the Cubans were fucking with us about giving back our boat. Do you know why that is? We have a military that is 96,000 people kind large. That's too fucking small of a military. No one takes you seriously with a military that pathetic and small and underfunded. And you don't need to use the military. It's just the military has to exist in a way where it can fuck people up if we need it to. Because that's part of how you negotiate with people. I mean, that's how the United States does it. That's how China does it. That's how Russia does it. That's even how the fucking UK does it. That's how fucking India does it. Okay? And here we are in Canada saying, let's just be weak faggots and hope that everything works out. Not gonna fly. Not gonna fly at all. And the other thing is, the structure of the military command in Canada is so fucking rotten. I wouldn't join the Canadian Forces if you paid me double of what anyone else was getting. Because it's not for Canada. Right? All of our military and police, they're still taking fucking oath to the Queen of England. Not to this fucking Constitution. Right? And that's what I think. We should be taking an oath to this Constitution. And to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Right? That's not how it works in Canada. And that's one thing that our American cousins have figured out. Because as sick as their shit is down there, when shit starts going sideways, which is going to be happening pretty soon, by the way. We're getting to that part in the Russians' plan where they're going to go for full destabilization. And, yeah, I think logically the destabilization will probably come in just after President Trump wins the 2020 election, but uh, before the second term begins, in that interim period. That'll likely be when the destabilization event happens and the Civil War starts to go hot. And the thing is when the Civil War starts to go hot in the United States, the Chinese government that runs the Canadian government will begin rounding up political dissidents such as myself or anyone that's probably into this channel. And, you can watch a movie, The Checkists, to see what they're going to do. And that's a fucking ugly ass future that isn't too far away in the future. So, I've got all my survival gear. Mm, I'm ready to go. Are you?